Good evening everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to another video. Now, I've been away from YouTube for around a week and a half now, because I've been focusing on myself, I've been playing video games, I've been a little bit ill, but I came back to the website to discover that there is a new YouTuber series on the block. And at this point, if I'm being honest, it does feel like the biggest trend on YouTube other than boxing matches is by making a series on another YouTuber. We've had it with FouseyTube, we've had it with Tanner, we've had it with Jeffrey. And the thing is, today's series that we're going to be talking about is actually about our favorite rapper, once again, Jake Paul, because somebody has made a series on the guy called Jake Paul Uncut. And this series is designed to show Jake Paul behind the scenes, it's designed to show who Jake Paul actually is behind the camera.
But iNabber, you complete dumb idiot. This series was already created 4 months ago by Shane Dawson. What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah, that's true. Shane Dawson has already made this series. The Mind of Jake Paul pretty much showed us everything we needed to know about Jake Paul. Him behind the camera, him with his girlfriend, him with his friends, him shopping, him doing absolutely anything that Shane wanted to show us. And of course, that series began around 4 months ago and it's completely finished with now. Shane Dawson is now working on a conspiracy theory video, but that's why I was very confused to see this video in my sub box.
Jake Paul, he's the younger and equally popular brother.
I feel like she just wants me to not do good.
You wouldn't f over your family, would you? No. I guess some people would.
If a girl comes here to be on Team 10, it's like no one can sleep with her. Keemstar asked me to ask you to unblock him. I'm not breaking up with her because I want to. I'm breaking up with her because that's what we both need.
All he sees is red, like he blacks out, you know what I'm saying?
Jake Paul Uncut, a self-proclaimed documentary from the man himself, and I think this really exemplifies how egotistical we've got on this website, to the point of where we're making documentaries on our own self. With David Attenborough, can you imagine that bloke just going out and deciding to make a fucking documentary on his life? Oh yes, today I decided to eat cereal. It's like, I just don't get it. I just don't get why we're making documentaries on our own selves. Like, I can understand Shane Dawson making it on Jake Paul because he's coming at it from a different angle. It's not Jake making it, so he isn't going to be biased. But with Jake Paul, I don't get it. Now, to be honest, I don't actually think I'm the only guy in the world that thinks that Jake Paul's new series is weird. When you go and take a look at the comment section, it's clear a lot of people are also slightly confused. I don't think anything has been done like this before on YouTube. Cough, Shane Dawson. Jake Paul Uncut, produced by Shane Dawson. Shane fixes Jake Paul, shows how nice Erica is, shows the real Jake Paul, how's Jake Paul's career, and then Jake Paul undoes everything, does a series the same as Shane's, and takes all of the originality. Now, it does appear that a lot of people are mainly annoyed that Jake is pretty much riding the wave of the Mind of Jake Paul in order to get views and subscribers, but honestly, that isn't my main issue with this series. My main issue actually lies with this clip.
Welcome to Jake Paul Uncut. I don't think something has ever been done like this on YouTube.
Now, the reason I take personal issue with this statement is because it pretty much seems like he is disregarding Shane Dawson's series on him. As you saw in the comment section, it said Shane Dawson has left this chat, and I think it's because it pretty much takes away the realness from Shane's series. It takes away the realness and the power from that hour-and-a-half episode where Shane sat down with Jake and pretty much spoke to him about his life issues and what Jake is doing wrong on his channel. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't exactly think that this series is terrible. I'm not going to come out and say, oh yes, Jake Paul is really bad, because as YouTube content goes, it's not that bad. If I disregard the fact that he's pretty much taken Shane's series and replicated it for himself to boost his ego, and the fact that he said he's the only one to ever make a series like this, I can say that, yeah, it's not that bad. But the thing is, there's one thing I just can't look past. It's been on my mind ever since I went through this series, and it's the fact that Jake Paul Uncut seems like some weird early 2000s sci-fi documentary that you would see on the History Channel. I just feel like some aliens are just gonna pop up and say, Jake Paul Uncut, featuring ancient aliens. I don't know, maybe I'm just a weirdo. This isn't a critique, this is just a personal thing I take from this video. It's just some weird sci-fi documentary with Jake Paul's face slapped on it. Now, if I'm being fully serious here, there is another problem I have with this series, and it's not that it's an Ancient Aliens rehash or a Shane Dawson rehash, it's actually the fact that he pretty much picks and chooses what goes in these videos, despite it being Jake Paul uncut, and you can see this when he says he isn't going to include clips which could possibly damage his friend's reputation.
So I'm obviously not going to show myself in the shower and things like that. There's stuff that I can't film. There's details that I can't put out there to protect reputations, to protect certain things, but I'm going to literally put out as much as I legally possibly can.
Now, this is slightly weird to me, considering the fact that he's gone about advertising this series like it's some dramatic thing that, oh my god, we're seeing Jake Paul uncut on his own channel, but you know, we're not actually showing the juicy parts. We're not showing the actual bits you all came for. We're just going to show me being a little bit sad that Erica Costello broke up with me. Now, some people may come out and say, well, this series is only based on Jake Paul. It's not based on his friends. Well, actually, I kind of disagree with that, because Jake Paul's channel is pretty much Team 10. There's a lot of people involved in this channel. So many people put a lot of effort into it. There's a lot of people that feature on this channel, a lot of people that have built their careers on this channel. So I think it is vital to not only see Jake Paul, but to also see his team uncut. Whenever I watch a documentary, I don't go to a documentary to learn things that I already know. I don't go to a documentary to find out that somebody's a bit stressed out. I go to a documentary for the nitty-gritty details, which you really wouldn't get from a casual video. For example, if I decided to watch a documentary about penguins, everyone loves penguins, but we really don't know too much about what goes on in the penguin community. And if I started watching this documentary, I was getting invested, it was interesting, and then I find out they've cut out the parts of the penguins fighting each other, I'd be a little bit disappointed, because in reality, that's what I've come for this documentary for, to see what actually happens. Not just penguins being cute and falling over, I want to see the details of the penguin community. And I know that's a bit of a weird analogy to use, comparing penguins and Jake Paul, but I think in this context, it can be used, because with Jake Paul, it does seem that a lot of stuff has been cut out of this, and it seems that most of the series is just the guy walking around for dramatic effect and feeling sorry for himself.
I woke up in the morning on that Friday, I believe it was, and Erica and I had been in a fight from the night before. Bro, it's just like I can't even make it through like a singing lesson without like fighting.
What are you guys fighting about? Stupid shit?
Yeah, bro, it's to the point where it's like, I don't even know.
So what I can take from this clip is that Jake has created a series to pretty much get the fact that he also has feelings and emotions just like any other human has. And I can accept that, because at the end of the day, people, YouTube is your own platform. You can put out pretty much anything you want to put out as long as it's not hateful content. But then my problem lies again with Shane Dawson's series with Jake Paul. Because in that documentary, Jake and Erica pretty much play it up like they're in this dream relationship. They support each other, they're there for each other, they're happy with each other. It's in general a fantastic relationship, but for only around a month later for it to transpire into a documentary every week about the fact that Jake's broke up with Erica. The actual first episode of this series is actually titled, "Here's Why Erica and I Broke Up and You Won't Believe What Happened," and in the thumbnail is Erica and Jake Paul. Now, if I was to come at this on a sort of business perspective, I would say that this whole thing is pretty much fake and planned, and they've just done it to capitalize on the success of the mind of Jake Paul. But if I was to be a nice and normal human being, I would say that, yeah, Jake Paul did have a good relationship, and yes, they broke up randomly, and this is pretty much not planned at all, and it's just completely spontaneous. But if I'm being honest, I can't pick between them two options, and that's mainly because Jake Paul appears to have so many different personalities. In Shane Dawson's documentary, he seems to be quite like his videos, but he is just a little less exaggerated. In his own videos, he's obviously a played character. He's louder, he has directors, he has writers pretty much doing everything for him. And in Jake Paul Uncut, he's pretty much this relaxed dude who seems to not be feeling very good. And I really just don't know what to believe. When you give me 3 different personalities, it's so confusing to a viewer, and somebody that has watched a lot of Jake Paul content, sadly, I just really am confused by all of this. Now, don't get me wrong, people, I'm not saying that Jake Paul has multiple personality disorder. I'm saying it's rather difficult to grasp a documentary when you know for a fact that this might not be the real person. It might be somebody playing an act. Because when you're doing 3 different acts, it's very difficult to believe. It's kind of like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. When you do it once, fair enough. When you do it twice, it's a little bit odd. But when you do it 3 times, I just don't know what to believe. And to be honest, I think I make a good point when I say that, because whilst uploading these deep weekly documentaries, he's also uploading these videos between them. Don't watch this with your parents. And you know, that video got less than 1 million views, and I think that really shows that most of Jake's fans are around 8 years old. Now, moving on to the last problem that I have with Jake Paul Uncut is that this documentary is kind of a victim documentary. He's pretty much just playing the victim throughout the entire thing.
And when you're in that lifestyle, it's so hard to have a committed, like, good relationship. So many people have left him and fucked with him and took from him and took and some of his best friends. I'm your best friend, Jake. I love you to the moon. Oh, the world isn't like you right now, Jake? Oh, well, I'm sorry, but I have to leave and make money and try to be famous. It's like, nah, bro. It's like, what people don't realize is, like, Team 10's a family. Yeah, we make money together. Yeah, we make content. Yeah, we do this. But at the end of the day, we're family.
What I don't get is how this documentary is being described as an uncut documentary when you can clearly see that the guy is walking around for stock footage for dramatic effect. He's using these clips purely to make him look a little bit more sad. And I just don't get that, because that's not real. That's again, just fake. Now, as I said before, I don't necessarily believe that this content is terrible. If you're coming at this from a neutral perspective, you don't really know much about YouTube, you may be a Jake Paul fan, this might interest you for sure. But as somebody that does YouTube, I can clearly see that the guy has purely made this series for everyone to feel bad for him. And now I'm just gonna roll the clip where it's Jake Paul talking about how hard the guy's life is, and it pretty much proves my point.
Are you gonna show it?
Jake Paul Uncut, yeah, man. It's like people don't get how hard like Hollywood and all this stuff is, and like
Correct.
They
People
don't-
think you just open your mouth and do it.
yeah.
Or do something you got lucky. No, it's a hard work. I'll be there, you know that song?
All right.
Now, honestly, I fully appreciate the fact that most people in Hollywood have worked incredibly hard to get to the point they're at. To get to the top of any form of entertainment industry is no doubt a hard graft. You have to put in a lot of work, and I actually can appreciate Jake Paul and Logan Paul for the work they have put in to get to the top of where they actually are now. With all them daily vlogs, that is a lot of work, even if you don't like what went into these daily vlogs. Sure, they went into some forests, and sure, they may have snorted some sherbet, but there definitely is a level of work that has been put in there. And honestly, I fully appreciate the fact that when you're on that constant daily grind, you are going to get drained and you are going to get sad. But when you've made an entire documentary where you're playing the victim card and you're not acknowledging any of the bad stuff you've personally done, I really just can't agree with that. This is the same guy that exploits children into buying his merchandise with actual really shady business techniques, which can be argued as pretty much Jedi mind tricks.
Kind of like saw the value in influencers and like how much power we had, and like
I realized with this much power, why don't I create and own the pie instead of promoting someone else's pie?
You can clearly see from that clip that Jake has a very good knowledge of business and possibly economics, so he knows how to exploit his audience. He definitely does that in his videos when he pretty much mentions his merchandise every 2 minutes or so. So to play the victim, to say that, oh, people don't appreciate the fact that Jake does work, to me, I just can't get behind that. Now, moving away from all of that, I want to talk about one last issue I kind of have with Jake Paul Uncut, and that's the fact that Jake Paul Uncut necessarily isn't uncut.
So later that night, I was kind of like an emotional wreck, and I was talking to Anthony outside, and we were just like, I just like wasn't good, and
Now, as you just saw in that clip, Jake clearly states that he's been crying, he's upset, he's down, and I can fully appreciate that, I genuinely can, but the problem is that he isn't showing these clips. It's Jake Paul Uncut. I think that we kind of deserve to see the footage of Jake genuinely being upset, because That's the whole point of an uncut documentary designed to show the key things about a person and their overall personality. We want to see, it's a bad word, but we want to see the juicy bits. We want to see the parts where Jake Paul is genuinely hurt and upset, because I can kind of understand them not being in Shane's documentary, but when you're doing it about yourself and you're taking it out, to me, it's just pointless. This whole thing is rather pointless. It's interesting, but overall, there's nothing really new. Now, a few Jake Paulers may jump to Jake's defense in this situation, and they may say that, oh, Jake might be a little bit too self-conscious to show himself crying on his YouTube channel, but I disagree. If you're going to make a new documentary despite Shane's documentary already being out there, then you should add more emotional context to what was actually in Shane's documentary, because with Shane, we learned things about Jake, but we really didn't see too much of an emotional side. So surely you would add something, not just completely replicate Shane's documentary, but nope. That's pretty much what it is, a complete replication of the mind of Jake Paul. To conclude this video, my main problem with this documentary is the fact that I no longer know who Jake Paul actually is. I mean, I really didn't know much before, but now I'm even more confused. Is he this sad guy which you get from Jake Paul Uncut? Is he this less exaggerated version of his videos in Shane Dawson's series? Or is he the guy who he presents himself to be in his normal Jake Paul videos? I just don't know anymore, and that is why I really can't get behind this documentary. Now, don't get me wrong, the concept of seeing Jake behind the footage, behind the actual scenes of a Jake Paul video being made is kind of interesting, but when you are openly saying that you are not going to include certain clips in case it damages somebody's reputation, then yeah, it's not a good idea. Now that is the end of the video. I am disappointed with Jake Paul because it does kind of take away the integrity from Shane's series, but I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section. If you want to let me know, just go and have a conversation in the comment section. I do reply to comments, I do heart comments, so let me know down there. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to follow my Instagram. If you want to go follow it, it's Instagram at iNabber. And the shout out of this week goes to Conti.am. If you want a shout out on Instagram, go follow me at iNabber and go comment and like on my last photo, and you may get an Instagram shout out in my next video. And before I end the video, I am going to thank my Patreons. Big thanks to Angelique, Arista, Isia, Anna, Alex Bones, Brianna, Bugger Badger, Clarissa, Cubes and Dingy Dino, Adana, Elle, Ella, Emily, Evelyn, Henry, Hannah, Anochi, Jay, Jessica, Joe, Jillian, Jordan, Joanna, Lisa, Majestic, Michaela, Maya, Mary, Mel, Meredith, Michael, Michelle, Neve, Nicole, Olivia, O'Reilly, Quinn, Ramita, Rockstar, Rooster Rose, Riley, Sadie, Sandra, Scrubby, Citizen, Speedybird, Tails Hunter, Tonji, Christian, Zero Fives, Immo Shoes, and Jade. Big thanks to patrons of the Patreon. You guys are heroes. And that is the end of the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up. And yeah, have a lovely evening, people.